it's all dumb. I mean, I really wish. I don't know. I guess I have a complicated relationship to Twitter because it's like a sort of feels like a kind of semi-necessary tool of a lot of the stuff that we
That's what I
do.
think it's everyone's feeling is Twitter is this like weird. It's like the drug addict going back to the crack den every once in a while, but you kind of have to because you're like trying to sell your wares to the crack addicts. So you're like, okay, I guess, and you're like, I'm gonna try to be here and not smoke too much drugs while I'm here,
Yeah,
but we'll see. Yeah.
I'm just gonna do a little bit of crack, and then I'm gonna like, yeah,
And
Yeah,
like,
then I'll be home. I'll be home by 10.
exactly.
So I have a bunch of questions, but I'll let Sitch start off.
Well, before
So
we talked about any of that stuff, I was curious because you said earlier, you listened to our Anna conversation, and I think I saw you on Twitter were defending Anna from a lot of the attacks. So, what's your whole take on all of that?
yeah. I mean, look, I kind of think it's dishonest not to start this with the admission that I'm like wildly biased. That she's a very good friend of mine in real life.
Nice.
I'm not like I'm not gonna, I mean, I guess if I really disagreed with her, I would probably just shut up about it, but I wouldn't be out there defending her. That would be dishonest. But yeah, I think that she's basically right about the stuff that people are mad at her about. I think that, I mean, some of these have been kind of drums I've been banging for a long time. Actually, like I wrote I mean, like one of the many things that's happened since the first conversation I had with you guys is
Hmm.
I wrote a book about how the left is too wrapped up in counterproductive moralism, right? Canceling comedians while the world burns. So obviously, I kind of started it at some of these places, and I think that and I think that I think that a lot of the positions that she's gotten raked over for the coals for, I think have been really misrepresented, and I think a lot of people kind of miss. I guess the one other thing I'd say about this is I think a lot of people kind of miss the sort of larger context in a way that sort of depressingly speaks to the way that culture war kind of eats everything in American politics and media, because everything is sort of immediately processed through this prism of like, ooh, what signal are you sending? When you say this,
true.
uh,
Yeah, totally. Whose team are you on?
yeah, and it's like I think a lot of her point has been that I think as she's kind of become more aware of the way that people end up in these kind of filter bubbles with their media consumption, et cetera, that they just end up believing a lot of stuff that's not entirely true, or is at least maybe partially true but misleading, and et cetera. And you shouldn't deny that for the sake of kind of signaling your loyalty, right? You could just kind of you can have, hey, here are my values, here are my political goals that I care about, but I also think that the audience are adults and I can kind of trust them to have all the information, and they can decide what to do with it.
Hmm.
Well, you have a book called "Give Them an Argument," which I mean I admire because obviously Sitch and I like to argue. Our whole show is basically arguing with people, and I do feel like a lot of these just ad hominem attacks or these straw man arguments that people throw out are really designed to avoid the argument. So I do think we kind of share that in common, that we're really
Yeah.
about talking about the substance of what we're disagreeing about.
Right. And it's funny what you were saying because I remember when, Anna got in trouble for those tweets she put out, almost the number one criticism that I was hearing against her wasn't necessarily the idea that she put out, but it'd be that like Ben Shapiro retweeted that.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Some person I don't like on the other political team, agreed with you. Like that's the number one complaint against her. And I was just like, oh geez, like
which
that
is
should
which
tell
is
you something.
so wild, right? Because it's like,
Yeah.
look, why does I mean, don't sure. I mean, I'm sure the premise is correct that right wing people enjoy watching left wing people get mad at each other, right?
Sure.
Oh yeah.
Like no question, sure, of course they do, right? But like, and so it's in like, yeah, like they're gonna enjoy it. They might like retweet something that they know is going to piss off leftists as much as anything because they know it's going to piss off leftists. And then
Right, of course.
that immediately becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yep.
Like it's all dumb. I mean, I really wish, I don't know. I guess I have a complicated relationship to Twitter because it's like a sort of feels like a kind of semi-necessary tool of a lot of the stuff that we do.
That's what I think it's everyone's feeling is Twitter is this like weird. It's like the drug addict going back to the crack den every once in a while, but you kind of have to because you're like trying to sell your wares to the crack addicts. So you're like, okay, I guess. And you're like, I'm gonna try to be here and not smoke too much drugs while I'm here.
Yeah. I'm just gonna do a little bit of crack and then I'm gonna
and then I'll be home. I'll be home by 10.
Exactly. Okay. Well, this is so the question I wanted to.
Hi, you just listened to a clip from the Sitch and Adams show. If you like what you heard, you can listen to our live show right here on this channel on Sunday, starting at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. And if you want, you can super chat us. We read $20 and up super chats on the show and then do a follow-up stream on the following Tuesday where we read the rest of the unread super chats and interact with fans of the show. Subscribe to this channel right here to listen to the live show or to listen to more of our awesome clips.